happy Tuesday. I do it all the time, I don't know, but I have worked 4 days straight, and they have been pretty busy shifts, not anything overwhelming, but I want to update you on my shift that I had last night. So I've been a nurse for almost 3 years, and there are a few things that I am not confident in, and so I always try to put myself in opportunities to do those things so that I can basically overcome them and be a stronger and better nurse. And so yesterday there was a code. So yesterday there was an ERT. And with that ERT, I've always had an ERT, but I've always been the nurse, of course, calling the ERT. I've never been the one accompanying or helping someone else in an ERT, and so I have never been a documenter for an ERT. The only time I've actually even opened up that software was when they were orienting us, and that was over 3 years ago during my orientation. And so when you are the documenter, you are basically just the eyes and ears of everything. You need to understand where the code started. You need to understand who is coming into the code, as far as the doctors, the respiratory therapists, maybe the stat nurses or the ICU nurse, whoever can't come. If the stat nurse can't come, there's an ICU nurse that's there. The bedside nurse, you understand the assessment of the patient, what they're seeing and everything. You basically are responsible for documenting in such a way that if someone was not there and they audited what happened during our ERT, that your documentation is so thorough that they actually feel as if they were there, you know? So even if people should be calling stuff out, you need to be like, hey, you know, if you missed a vital sign, what's their vitals now? Because a lot of people are just in there, they're doing things, and so you need to make sure that you are, you know, speaking up and, you know, asking what's your name, okay? You know, just be assertive. And so I love night shift because it is actually putting me in the opportunity where or allow me to have the opportunities where I can actually do these things that I normally have not been doing or shying away from. I can say day shift already used to be so overwhelming for me that I kind of shied away from even some of these opportunities or things, you know, that I'm not highly skilled in. And so I love it, you guys. I love it that I was a documenter for ERT yesterday, and I'm praying that I did everything right. And if not, there's a learning experience. What I didn't do, you know, right, I would just make sure that I do the next time. But I was able to help the bedside nurse, and at the end she was like, yo, Leah, thank you so much for just helping. The one key thing that I can say from an ERT, just pointers for those who have never actually did ERT and never documented, that you just make sure that you are speaking up and asking people, hey, what's your name? And things are not clear, they're not being voiced, so that you can hear, like, you know, what was that respiratory that you got? What's going on? What labs were ordered? What's the orders to the doctor? And the doctor at the end of the ERT should come to you and say, hey, this is what we have done. In my case, it was a patient that was having a TIA. So they just, of course, had a head CT, got some labs, got an EKG, the typical things. You need to make sure you're actually putting those orders in. So I am so excited. I'm so excited. I love it. I love it that I'm growing as a nurse. So many things that I shied away from that are happening, and so I just have this strong feeling that this is just basically preparing me for something much greater. I don't know what it is necessarily, but I know that in my spirit there is something that's going to happen, and I'm just so excited that I'm growing and I'm sharing knowledge and not keeping it to myself, that I'm helping you all become better nurses. Because a lot of times, man, I know, not a lot of times, it is your responsibility to grow as a nurse. If you don't want to do IVs and you hate IVs, you actually can go your whole career and actually not even do an IV. But don't be that type of nurse. Put yourself in ways, put yourself out there, and put yourself in those opportunities where you are doing things that you may not be you may not want to do, because it only makes you a better nurse, you know. So I'm actually preparing, and these people do not drive, I'm actually preparing to go to Charleston. And so because I've been working since Saturday night, it's just been a real hassle trying to get my pedicure. So this is my last shift for the night. I scheduled a 5:10 p.m. appointment, which is 5:10 right now, to go get a pedicure, and so I need to actually be at work by 7 o'clock. But the good thing is I actually have the same patients. I have my computer, so I have to scramble around for stuff. So we're going to see if I can actually get to work on time and pray in the name of Jesus. So yeah, I'll take you along for my last shift, and yeah. So I have been more intentional about at least walking a mile or two while I am at work. And during my walk tonight, a nurse, I actually had to give blood to one of her patients, so she asked for me to go and get the blood. So here I am walking down to get the blood and just talking to the technician behind the desk. But I just wanted to let you all know, for those that are giving blood, there's some key things you need to do before you even give blood. Make sure you have a set of vitals that was given within the last hour of administering blood. The first and foremost thing is just make sure you have an order. Second, make sure you have a type and cross within the specific parameters of the hospital. I think ours is within 3 days. And also make sure that you actually have a consent for blood in the patient's record for that admission. So that's the most important thing. So in my hospital, we have about 30 minutes from the time you actually receive the blood from the lab to actually hang and actually administer the blood. So the ending of my night was pretty slow. I simply just passed meds and did my hourly rounding and of course charting. So I'll see you guys in my next video.